A new policy at the U.S. Capitol building restricts the use of some bathrooms by transgender people. Democratic Representative-elect Sarah McBride of Delaware will become the first out transgender woman elected to Congress in January. Today, House Speaker Mike Johnson, Republican, announced single-sex bathrooms, changing rooms, and locker rooms in the Capitol are, quote, reserved for individuals of that biological sex. Johnson was asked how this policy would be enforced.
Yeah, like all House policies, it's enforceable, and we have single-sex facilities for a reason, and women deserve women's-only spaces, and we're not anti-anyone, we're pro-woman, and I think it's an important policy for us to continue. It's always been I guess, an unwritten policy, but now it's in writing.
The journey that I have been
on Monday, Republican Representative Nancy Mace, you're looking at McBride here, by the way, introduced a resolution to ban transgender people from using the restroom of their choice at the Capitol. After Johnson's announcement, McBride said she would abide by the new rule. The national debate over transgender inclusion has been playing out in high school and college sports. Utah State University has just filed a motion to have a San Jose State women's volleyball team player disqualified from the team ahead of the Mountain West tournament next week. The lawsuit accuses the Spartans player of being ineligible because she was born male. Utah State says the conference has failed to protect female athletes. 4 Mountain West schools, Boise State, Nevada, Utah State, and Wyoming, have forfeited their games against San Jose State in protest. But one of those schools could very well be matched up against the Spartans next week, so we'll see. The all-girls Catholic high school, meantime, Notre Dame in Belmont, has received a warning letter over its fans' behavior at a girls' volleyball game played last month against Half Moon Bay High School. This match was part of a tournament hosted at Aragon High School in San Mateo. Joining us live now to talk about this incident, the implications, and the law, Aragon High School Athletic Director and co-chair of the Peninsula Athletic League Athletic Directors, Steve Sell. Steve, thanks so much for joining us today.
You're welcome.
So what happened at that game in question that prompted you to send the letter to Notre Dame?
So we had a tournament here where a very brave transgender girl who plays for Half Moon Bay ended up matching the Notre Dame. Half Moon Bay ended up playing Notre Dame Belmont, and the Half Moon Bay transgender girl, whenever she rotated in, there was some booing and heckling from the Notre Dame Belmont fans that had to be rectified by the tournament director and the official. And so it was, I learned about it, had a conversation to get some more facts, and so sent that letter. It was, I was appalled that it happened I was appalled that it happened at all, but I was, if it happened on our campus. So I felt like there needed to be a strong response.
I know from a letter that the Notre Dame athletic director apologized for the fan response, but was this a one-off, this reaction from members of the Notre Dame community against Half Moon Bay High School?
Yeah, as far as I know, it was highly unfortunate. And I think another part of this issue was that earlier in the season, Notre Dame Belmont has canceled the non-league game scheduled with Half Moon Bay, noting that the reason that they're canceling was because of the fact that they had a transgender girl on their team.
You've been coaching
and
sports
as I said in the letter, it was, I thought that was a serious error in judgment by the leadership of Notre Dame Belmont, because I think it sent a message to their community that it was okay to treat kids in a discriminatory fashion.
You've been coaching kids for decades. It's kind of playing out now, this issue on both the national level and in high school sports. How does this make you feel?
It's scary. Right now, it's incredibly scary. I mean, athletic directors in schools are no stranger to fans acting in an unruly and kind of uncivil way towards officials and coaches at contests. Now it becomes really frightening about how this might be turned on transgender girls who are playing high school sports. And this is, we just had the incident, I'm sure you're going to mention, about a team backing out of the playoffs before they had to play a team with a transgender girl. But, I'm quite frankly, I'm a little frightened for the kids, for the transgender girls, not just in our state, but all around the country, who just want to belong, connect, and compete by playing high school athletics.
I want to get into the law in just a second, but right now, first, I want to throw this at you, which is, I'm sure you've heard it, most who argue against trans girls or women participating in sports say, hey, it's either an unfair advantage or maybe the other players are at risk in terms of their safety. You've, again, been in this a long time. Have you observed anything that would lead you to have a conclusion on the validity of those arguments one way or the other?
So right now, there's not evidence about there is a case in Connecticut, a transgender girl qualifying for the state meet ahead of a cisgender girl, but we are not seeing a prevalence of it. It's still happening at a very low level and very rarely, and certainly is not happening enough to justify excluding transgender girls from athletics.
I see. You're saying it's kind of got an outsized importance in the national conversation of politics, but really when you look at the number of cases, it's very few. Is that what you're saying?
So Megan Rapinoe there's an interview with her in Time Magazine 2022, and she put it beautifully about they're just saying there's just not the evidence that this is happening at the levels that warrants exclusion of these kids. And these transgender kids, I mean, statistically, they're highly marginalized. They are highly at risk. And just the thought that, when you weigh, put on balance, the potential damage being done to cisgender girls competing against transgender girls, you weigh that versus the potential damage done to transgender, the whole transgender community. It's not even close.
But let me just ask you this, though, right? There's some who would want to ban transportation categorically. But do you think there are individual case-by-case basis, certain situations where that, whether it's the safety argument or unfair advantage, would have some validity? Like, let's say, for example, one of your biggest football players, I know you head coach football, decided to play, and I don't mean this like willy-nilly. I meant they're transitioning and they play girls flag football, for example, now, which is a high school sport.
No, I'll say this, is that the potential risk is not zero. Right, there will be some scenarios that we'll have to address where there is some serious risk, but right now we are currently not seeing. And I would say that those colleges that don't want to play San Jose State, they have an imperfect argument in that I've never been to their practices, but it's on a regular basis, and it's I think the rule rather than the exception. These women varsity sports in colleges, there's men they practice against. There's articles written about these squads that will scrimmage the varsity women's volleyball team, basketball team, soccer team. Mm-hmm. And so the safety argument to me is not terrific.
I do know that's pretty common practice. But Steve, we only have less than a minute, so I'm going to end it with asking you, regardless of how people feel, what is the law, right? What is the law here in California?
So right now, the CIF in 2013, they passed a law that says how a kid, the important is gender identity. That however a kid identifies at their high school, that kid is entitled to participate with that gender, and that law, that person is protected by Title IX, by state and federal laws. And so the reality of it is that excluding these kids from participation not only does damage, but it's against the law.
All right, it's a complicated topic, and I really appreciate you coming on to share your perspective. Steve Sell, Pacific Athletic League Athletic Director's co-chair and Aragon High School Athletic Director, thanks so much for your time today.